Hello friends and welcome back to Enterprise Architecture. Now, last time we spent way too long working on building a barn and getting all of our animals into that barn. So we are ready for some animal husbandry. But today we are switching back to where we were in the episode before that. We are going to try and get our leather production wrapped up here so that we can make ourselves some armor. That also means we need to increase the amount of metal plates that we've created. I think we're going to do some bronze armor actually, but we have to have that leather base to be able to make it. So with no further ado, let's dive right in. What we do need to make is either decide if we're going to make chainmail, of which we already have a little bit of copper chain, but I think again we're going to make tin bronze chain, or if we're going to make plate mail or something else. So we need to decide that. But to get there first, let's grab a bunch of our clay up and make ourselves a bunch more of our ingot molds. Now, the other thing we're going to need to do is make a whole bunch more charcoal because we are basically out. I don't think we have any charcoal left at this point. So we're going to have to chop down a bunch of our trees from our little tree area that we grew over there, our little tree nursery. So, with any luck, one of those trees also will have given us some resin, if not multiple trees with resin, because we put a bunch of pine trees there. So we'll see what we end up with. Now, let's go ahead and make our ingot molds to start. So somewhere in here, we, yes, have the double clay ingot molds. So we're going to start with that piece of the puzzle. And I'm going to make up a mess of these while I'm doing it. I might also make us an extra couple of storage vessels. We only have 3 right now, and those are getting pretty darn full with the current amount of food production that I'm doing, since I've got my little farm set up now. And we're going to need more storage space for food, so that might be the other thing that we do. Okay, so there's most of our pottery making done. Now the next thing we need to move on to is cutting down some trees. So I'm going to go ahead and make myself a couple of flint axes since I have not upgraded from that yet. I probably should go ahead and make a copper axe one of these days, sooner rather than later, but haven't gotten around to it. Flint is plentiful. We do not have that much copper yet. We have a decent amount of copper, but not enough that I can just go around making axes willy-nilly yet. All right, so let's go ahead and make ourselves 2 flint axes. There we go. So it is a wonderful rainy day here on our little farm. And as I mentioned before, we have all of these wonderful pine trees we've planted. Now, with any luck, some of these will yield to us a bit of resin. Okay, so we're gonna wanna climb up here a little ways and see if we can't cut down a few of these branches and get ourselves some more pine seeds while we're doing it. For this whole process to be sustainable, we need to get as many seeds back out as we are cutting down from the branches. So let's see here. And if I give myself a slot open, I'll be able to see more easily if we've actually achieved that goal. Now, I do have some extra pine seeds left in the hut here, but we don't want to rely on that for all of these. Now, for those of you who are playing vanilla, you are not going to have resin spots on trees that you have planted yourself. I'm using the resin regrow mod for this, and that's how we get that. So again, this one here, I'm not seeing any resin spots on this either. So let's just climb all the way back up to the top of this one, cut it down, or cut the rest of the branches off before we cut it down, I should say. Let's put this here. Okay. There we go, 7 pine cones already. So that's a good sign since we've only knocked the leaves off of basically 2 of these trees so far. Wow, it's only 3 in the morning, but we've got a really weird, ominous glow going here. I don't think that's the sunrise, but that's real scary looking. I don't know what's up with that. I might have to look this up online and see if that's supposed to be part of the sunrise. Oh, it seems maybe it's part of the cloud cover? I don't know what it is, but it's awfully scary. Okay, we got super lucky. We have 1 tree with resin. So we're gonna leave this tree alone. It's the last one in the whole stack. So we are just gonna leave that right there. And we are gonna collect the resin, but my inventory is totally full. So we're gonna knock down this next to last tree, and then we'll come back for that. Now, one really important thing to note is when you're going and knocking down these trees, look at each log as you're climbing up, because this one is called leaking pine log with resin, unlike the others, which are just pine log. So that's how you can tell and make sure that as you're moving around that you're not missing a side of the tree that might have resin on it. Just look at the names of the blocks as you're climbing up. Now, I know it might not seem like a single piece of resin is a very good haul for 16 trees, but for those of you all who've been playing this game for a little while, you know that that is actually super lucky. We found 2 other trees with resin way over by the other translocator, but that's pretty far away. So being able to grow our own and eventually have unlimited access to resin is really exciting. So we've got 3 now, and that means we're almost at the point where we're going to be having enough that we can start making some of our mechanical things, but we're not there yet. Now, next up here, now that we've got all these logs, is to run back over here to where we had our charcoal pit. Now, I'm not sure how much space we are going to need because I don't know how much actual firewood we're going to have here, but I'm just going to go ahead and carve out this space here. And actually, this was originally our fire pit and our charcoal kiln was next to it here. So let's see here how much firewood we can make with all of these logs. So, oh, dropped my hammer, or my axe rather. Let's go ahead and stack these up. Give me that back. Do the same thing here. Okay, so we have now made ourselves 4 storage vessels and 12 ingot molds. So we're going to put these down into our slots we have here, and it looks like we're going to need a lot more space. Thankfully, these large trees that are in the way will quickly make for a wonderful source of firewood, since that's what we're going to need anyway. So let me go ahead and take care of that, clear back all this grass so nothing catches on fire, and we don't accidentally burn our house down. Okay, so now that I've set everything down into our new fire pits here, all we have to do is start loading them with the right ingredients. So I think it goes sticks, firewood, I can't remember which goes which. Yeah, I think we start with straw, because it should just cut off right when we hit the limit of how much is supposed to be in each. Okay, great. So next we need sticks. That's going to be pretty easy because we had so many stacks of sticks when we were cutting down trees, just more than I knew what to do with. And those, and those, and those. And then all that remains is to stack as much firewood as is needed. And I think we have enough firewood. Like that. Okay, so I think that should be all of them. We do a fire pit on top of that, and then we add our logs. And now we should be able to light this. There we go, charcoal pit is lit. And now we can just put a block on top. Okay, so that's gonna be good to go. And now we do the same thing here. We gotta light up all of these pit kilns. Make sure to not set ourselves on fire in the process. That's very important as well. There we go. Okay, so all of these are now lit up and ready to roll. Now that's gonna go basically for all of a day to get all of these burnt out and fired. I really wish there was a way to do an upgraded kiln. I'll have to see if there's a mod that adds that, because pit kilns are fine, but I mean, we should have slightly more modern technology at this point since we're technically using the medieval mod. Now, while all that's processing, let's collect up all of our leather here. So we had been brewing a whole bunch of leather. There's 24 in that barrel. Let's see, 9 here. Just 3 there, is that right? Okay, so 36 leather all said and done. So, leather. We are gonna need to make ourselves some sort of, probably not plate armor. Yeah, so I think chain is gonna be the right balance for us right now. So, chain body armor requires a body leather jerkin, and that requires, what's this, 12, 14 pieces just for that. Okay. And let's see what we need here for the leg leather jerkin. 14 plus, that's 8. So 22 to get there. And then the helmet, chain helmet, what do they call it in this? Chain head armor. Looks like it's just chain. So that we don't need. So let's go ahead and make our 2 jerkins real quick. So let's see here. What was it? This and then doubled is the body jerkin, and then the legs. Okay, so those are the base pieces that we need to make our armor. Now, the other thing that we're going to need is a lot of chain. Now, to make the chain, we smelt it with 2 ingots. And how many pieces of chain are we going to need here? So for body armor, we need, 1, 2, 5, 11 for that. That is a lot. Okay. And then for the legs, we need 6. Okay. So that's 17. That means we need 34 ingots of whatever we are going to be making. And we have 4 bronze ingots. Now, I think we have enough cassiterite here and copper that we can make that. It's just going to take us a long while. So we're going to start on that process now. And overnight, while our things are burning, hopefully we will get some more ingot molds and we can complete this process. Now, what we might also do here is while we are, or before we get started on that, is maybe we use our leather to make ourselves some backpacks. So let's see here, leather backpack. Yeah, it looks like we have enough that for right now we can at least make 1 of those. Okay, so I should then be able to take one of my hand baskets, and yeah, if I drop it, I immediately pick up the backpack instead. That works great. Okay, so our hand baskets, we're not really doing anything with those. I guess we could just put them away for now and come back to them at a future date. All right, let's do that. But that does mean that we should go ahead and make ourselves some more leather. Now, how much do we have left here? 20 liters of weak tannin, 2 liters of strong tannin. Okay, and that's 22 liters of strong tannin. Let me see if I can combine these real quick into a single container. So let's go ahead and grab our weak tannin and put that into our weak tannin bucket. There we go. And then I have one more. Empty. Weak tannin. Okay, great. Put that in here. And then all of our strong tannin, we'll do the same thing. So grab our strong tannin out of there and combine it with that one. If I had realized these barrels held that many liters in the first place, I wouldn't have needed to make so many. But, you know, I'm certainly going to use these barrels in the near future. There's no question that I want to do some brewing. Maybe we even start brewing some wine while we're at it. That could be good. Okay, so we have a couple of hides already scraped, just 2, but I think we want to go ahead and do the rest of these large hides. So the other thing we're going to do is make ourselves some lime water. So let's go ahead and grab our bucket. Put 10 liters in there. Let's do more than that, right? Because we've already learned that we can do more than that. So let's take this, and we need half of it, basically. Well, more than half, right? We want 20 liters. There we go, lime water. And now we should be able to combine that with our large hides. And there we go, we can seal that. Oh, I guess we can't. Oh, we can only do 3. Oh. Well then, you know what that means is that we should go ahead and make more lime to add to this until we can do all of those. So I'm going to keep filling this up. Okay, let's see how many large hides it'll let us put in here. Oh, all 7. Okay, great. So we're going to seal that up. So while all that is going, we are going to go ahead and make ourselves some more of these tin bronze ingots. So if I remember correctly here, let's grab up our crucible, put that on the fire. Generally speaking, I think we only need one chunk each here. So if we do 4, is that right? Oh, maybe it's 8 that we need. Ah, there we go. So 8. So 2 each will give us 4 ingots of tin bronze. So now what we need to do is light this up, but I'm not going to light it up with my black coal yet. I'm going to start by lighting it with peat just to get it up to temperature. That way we're going to save on the amount of coal that we actually end up needing pretty significantly. So let's go ahead and light that. Okay, so this is going to get us up to the 900 degree mark. And once it's at 900 degrees, then we're going to swap out for coal. Okay, we're getting close to that magical 900 mark where the peat will stop burning any hotter. So let's go ahead and put 3 pieces of coal in here. I think that'll be plenty. Okay, and there we go. 2 pieces of coal was the magic number for those 4 ingots. So we can just pour these out. And we'll have 4 more ingots. Oh, if we don't stand on top of the hot thing. Okay, now we just have to do that like 10 more times. So while all that's going, we can attend to a little bit more housekeeping here. We have a bunch of crops that are ready to be picked up here. The last of our crops, in fact, from our original farm that we did in like the 2nd episode, maybe? So now that means we can start breaking all of this back down because we don't need it anymore. Oh, but I do need those seeds. So let's grab up the Terra Preta here. And are we not getting that back out? Oh. Why is that disappearing? I'm not sure where that's going. Well, maybe you can only use the Terra Preta once and then it disappears forever? That would be sad. Okay, well, I'm not going to touch any more of that because I don't want it to accidentally break if there's a way to reclaim this somehow. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong, but apparently I can't grab this back up. So we'll just leave this here. But what we will do is tear down all of this fencing, which we no longer need. Okay, well, the rift activity just turned apocalyptic, so I'm trying to avoid going outside as much as possible because the monsters are going to be spawning there pretty soon, I think. Now, in between episodes also, while I was working on all of my other barn and animal raising, I went ahead and cooked myself a whole lot of pies. We had a lot of red meat that we had gathered, and so I collected all of that and used our remaining grain to make all of these pies. Mostly these are meat pies. There are a couple of pies that are fruit pies. I did make some cranberry pies and some currant pies with our extras. But yeah, that worked real well for me to have all of these pies. I'm also saving my flax grain to mainly feed to our animals here. It's only got 30 saturation versus all of the other types that gives us 60. So it gives us flax, which we need as a source for fabric, linen, etc. But the grain itself mainly is only good for feeding our chickens. So we're just hanging on to that and using it as chicken feed. Okay, the day is about over and everything is done cooking. So we need to empty out our inventory and grab all this up. And then last but not least, let's get all of our charcoal up. And it looks like there is a lot here for us. Okay, cleaned up our space a little bit here. I added our 4th storage vessel underneath a new shelf. I don't have enough stairs to put upside down to finish out this row for the other 4 vessels, but this is going to have to do fine. Now, I am a little worried about the placement of these because 2 layers deep makes it a little hard to interact with everything here. So we're just going to be extra careful as we are moving around. So first things first, let's start making ourselves a lot more tin bronze. Okay, I think that's right. 1,600 units of tin bronze. We couldn't use our copper bits because we're using so much of our copper nuggets that we didn't have enough room for all of them, but that should work fine. Now, if I remove the firewood and I put the peat in instead, like so, I think I'll only need 5 for that. That should get us up to that 900 degree mark again. Now, while that's going, there's no reason that we can't get the rest of our ingots here up to temperature and start working on the next stage of production. So I'm going to take my tin bronze and I'm going to add to that some charcoal, and I'm going to light up these forges. There we go. And with those, hopefully we will be able to make our plates. Okay, so this is almost up to temperature. I'm going to pull off the peat and I'm going to put in, it should only be 2 pieces of charcoal to get that up to full temperature. Yeah, so that's right. This is much slower when you have more ingots in here, apparently. So I'm going to put 3 more pieces of charcoal and we'll see how well that does to get us where we need to go. Okay, so that's still going. It's going to take a few seconds. So while that's happening, let's go ahead and grab some bronze off our forge, place our work item, and we are going to make tin bronze chain. Perfect. All right, so let's grab our hammer here. This is a tin bronze hammer as well. And we need to make this pattern. And I think this pattern requires multiple ingots. I think it's 2 ingots to get this. So let's go ahead and spread these out real quick. And immediately we are going to want to go ahead and add our second ingot. So we grab one off here and we add the metal to it, and then we keep on hammering. So splat. There we go. And there we go. There is our tin bronze. So we're going to grab this up, fill up all of our containers, and then get back to smelting all of our chain. Now, the chain smelting is going much slower than I would have expected, so we're only going to worry about keeping a couple of ingots hot at a time, at least until I get a little faster at this whole process, because this is not as elegant as I would have liked. Okay, after a couple of real-life hours of hammering, we finally have made our bronze chain, at least enough of it to get started here. So, if we take our body jerkin, and we can use that for our chain armor, we just need to figure out the pattern. So just like that. So let's see if I can reproduce that and remember it for more than a few seconds at a time. Here, and then a double layer in the middle, and then wrapped around it, there's our chain body armor. Great. The leggings, I think, yeah, it's just a hat basically on it with a double on the top. So we go around like that and that. There's our leggings, and then the helmet doesn't need any leather, just like that. Okay, so now we are going to be well suited up. Perfect. Okay, now that is a lot of defense for us at this tier. Now let's take a look. Oh, looking sharp. Okay. But with all of that in hand, I'm going to be well prepared to take on those wolves and any other monsters that might be over there, and so I don't get taken apart and die again. But that's going to have to wait for the next episode. For now, we're going to call it the end of this episode. Thanks again for watching Enterprise Architecture, and we'll see you back here next time. Bye, friends!